Songwriting is a strange thing, and in some ways it's difficult to try and pin down a set formula or system, but this is my attempt to explain my songwriting process. For me, songwriting, or any creative work for that matter, is as much about input as it is output. It's about catching those moments of inspiration, and I'm not going to have many of those moments if I'm running on an empty tank, so a lot of my time is spent listening to music. I try and make a point of keeping up to date with new music. I usually do this through my release radar and discover weekly playlists, going through and saving any songs that catch my ear to a separate playlist. I also read music blogs almost every day. I read a lot of reviews and I save the albums that are highly rated and sound appealing, and then I listen to them and I digest them through the week. I also like to go back to any songs that caught my ear and learn more about those artists. I'll spend time watching their videos, live performances, interviews, and just understand their process and their sound. This process keeps me sharp and aware of what's happening in music, as well as filling up my creative tank with musical ideas and references that I can draw on when needed. But songwriting is more than music. It's about the words and the message too, and I always prefer to approach a song with something that's already in my heart and already on my mind, rather than just plucking an idea out of the air. I think inspiration can be found in so many places, like in films and magazines and a good book, or poetry and nature, but for me as a follower of Jesus, I love to take my inspiration from the Bible and spending time in prayer. I keep a note of the verses and the themes that jump out to me. I keep a record of the conversations I've had with God and the different attributes that I'm discovering at the moment. Recently I've been reading 2 books about the title Son of Man that Jesus uses for himself in the Gospels, and then seeing that all the way through and making notes about all of that, and that's the kind of thing you can draw on when you come to write a song. Sometimes we see songwriting as just the thing that happens when we sit down with a guitar and we start making beats, but for me, taking the time to listen and seek out themes and ideas is as much a part of the process as putting the music together. It's the preparation that helps the creative process to flow so much smoother. Let's talk about the creative process. So for me, most songs start as voice notes. I spend a lot of time noodling on instruments, and that part doesn't always sound very nice, but sometimes I just find a nice progression or a melody, and sometimes it's a whole song idea that develops. But either way, I'll make a voice note just to keep a record of it, and I also use voice notes to capture ideas when I'm out and about. It's often the moments where our mind's like wandering, and maybe we're in the car or walking somewhere, and that's the moment when a melody or a lyric comes to mind, and I'll just quickly sing it into my phone. Now when it comes to sitting down at the computer, I have 2 options. I can either start from scratch and start making loops, or I can take a voice memo and start tracking the parts and the ideas for that. A lot of people ask whether I start with music or lyrics, and most of the time it's the music. I like to spend time just making loops and beats and chord progressions, and some of those end up as instrumentals. Some feel like they're a good sound bed to start adding melodies, and once I have a section or 2 that I'm happy with, I like to plug in my microphone and just start singing melodies. Or I might even have a melody idea that's developing already just from making the loop, and I usually just sing some made up words or maybe a line or 2 that comes to my mind in the moment. And that usually feels like a good moment to pause for me. I'll save out what I have and just live with the track for a few weeks. I'll listen to it now and then when I'm driving or going about my day, and I'll make notes of lyric ideas that fit the melody and the feeling and the atmosphere of the song. The lyric writing process can be the longest part for me sometimes. I'll usually pick an overall theme or a concept for the song, and then I just go digging. I go reading around it. I'll listen to talks and podcasts. I'll pray through that theme and try and turn it into a conversation with God, and I'll just start writing loads of lines and ideas, and not even worrying at this point about the rhyme or the rhythm. I'm just writing anything that fits that theme and that concept, and slowly I refine it until those ideas become lyrics and I feel like it carries the message that I had in mind. This can be a long process, but sometimes it's fast too. Sometimes there's just a moment of inspiration even as I'm making the loop, and the song just seems to be right there for the taking. And sometimes we see these ones as the ones that are the most divinely inspired or God-given, but for me, I think God's in the whole process. I think he's in the songs that just happen and the ones that are refined and shaped over months and years. The refining process usually gets more technical. I'll work on the mix, the instrumentation, the arrangement, tweaking different parts. And sometimes collaboration is the answer too. I've been doing this more recently, just trying to write songs with friends over Zoom, or even just sending ideas over iMessage or WhatsApp, just back and forth with people. And having another set of ears can often be the answer to a song that's kind of hitting a dead end. Just having somebody else to listen to it and share their ideas and say what they hear in the song. And sometimes it just needs time as well. I'm okay with unfinished songs. Like, I don't mind putting something to the side. Rather than feeling pressure to complete every song I start, I just have a big folder full of partly finished ideas, and some of these will be completed after a while and some won't, and that's okay. I think you can hit a dead end sometimes and feel like you have to stay there, but I'm okay with just moving on. And I like to follow the ones that I'm excited about. I like to follow the ideas that I have the passion for, and when I end up with a song that I want to listen to every day, then I'm happy. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and hopefully it gave you some tips for your own songwriting. This video is sponsored by Skillshare, which is an online learning community where millions come together to take the next step in their creative journey. No matter what skill level you consider yourself to be, there'll be courses on there that you can enjoy exploring, everything from design to video, productivity, music, songwriting. In fact, if you're interested in mixing music, there's a really good course called How to Mix Music with Young Guru, and I did that one a couple of years ago and it was so helpful. I still use a lot of those techniques. So if you're interested in that, there's a link in the description, and the first 1,000 people to click that link will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. After that, it's less than $10 a month, so check that out. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you, Skillshare. We'll see you soon.